Well, welcome aboard as we're flying to Reykjavik, Iceland, the northernmost capital city in the world. We're going to spend 10 days in the country helping Richie celebrate his 40th birthday. And we had a truly marvelous time, so grab some popcorn, kick your feet up, get your favorite beverage, and join us for our adventures in Iceland.
Let me introduce you to the crew. That's me. That's Kingston. That's Duke/Duke Danger. And of course, my mom and dad. And this is Uncle Walker. And that's Auntie Debbie. Here's Uncle KK. And last but not least, Grandpa and Grandma Susie.
How's the weather out here?
Yeah, it's cold.
Yeah, it was cold. Right about freezing with a little mixed rain and snow. We spent a little time in Reykjavik and then headed out along the south coast to find our first stopover for the night.
Yeah, but my brothers and I have been up all night, so we slept most of the first morning. Our first night was at the Millhouse Lodge near Hella in South Iceland.
Well, this here is the mill house. And getting here yesterday afternoon in 30 or 40 knots of icy rain and wind. Sure was nice to wake up this morning to see a little bit of sun and a little bit more settled weather. And here we got a chance to meet the neighbors.
Let me tell you about one of my grandpa's favorite photographers, Rick Salmon, who many years ago coined the phrase, "The camera looks both ways," meaning that in picturing the subject, you are also picturing a part of yourself. So in other words, you are a mirror. The mood, the energy, and the emotion that you project are reflected by your subjects, in their faces, and especially their eyes. And here you can see an illustration of this, as my grandpa's actual reflection is captured in the horse's eye.
Every day, we would head off, exploring a new part of the country.
This is Skogafoss. Foss means waterfall in Icelandic. Oh man, that was wet.
There they go. Hey, tell me what you got.
Awesome photo. That's what I got.
Okay.
There were 480 steps up to the top.
Well, once again, it looks like we landed on our feet. This is the view from the back porch of our Black Beach Suites. I'll show you that front view in just a sec. This was near the little village of Vik, and Vik means safe harbor or bay in Icelandic. And this was also the place where the Northern Lights showed us their magic. Go ahead, try to say Skaftarepur.
The next day, we hiked up to see this cool canyon, and it had a river inside. People used to live in these huts.
Is this where you're staying tonight? Hey, what do you think, fellas?
We followed this river valley up to the thermal hot pool.
Oh no!
Auntie Debbie was not digging sliminess. Man, that water was cold, right out of a glacier. These are big hay bales, but we call them marshmallows.
The next place we stayed was further inland near the town of Geyser. And yes, there were geysers.
Here goes. Ooh, nice. Oh man, Duke Danger never fails to put on a good show. Our next 3 nights were spent at this picturesque little farmhouse. On the plus side, the fields were just packed with beautiful Icelandic horses. There were sheep that just walked right up the driveway. And on the inside, it was decorated with all kinds of cool antiques and little knickknacks. But on the downside, the whole place was pretty dilapidated and starting to fall apart. And the water, yikes, it smelled of sulfur. And the hot water in the sink was so scorching hot it must have been pumped straight out of the core of the earth. Okay, it's good, huh?
We started our next day with a trip to a local farm for lunch. Generations of the same family have been working this farm since 1708. Grandpa tried to get Susie to kiss his cheek right where the calf had licked it. Susie didn't fall for that one.
Lagerveding means lake for bathing in Icelandic.
It's cold, just me standing here. A little later that evening, Walker and I went out to try to capture a few images of our quaint, picturesque little farmhouse. Here's what it actually looked like behind the scenes. Well, by this point, I'd pretty much had these horses trained to come running as soon as they saw me walking up to the fence line. I'd tear up a handful of tall grass and wave it in the air, and they'd come and get their ears scratched. Well, good morning, boys. Looks like it's time to do some homework, huh?
Yeah.
Well, taking a week off of school, sometimes you gotta catch up or stay ahead.
These beautiful horses were brought to Iceland by Norse settlers in the 9th and 10th centuries.
Pops, tell me about it.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Well, it was time to say farewell to our horses. as we headed up to the northwest coast of Iceland.
First stop was a visit to Gullfoss, which means Gold Falls. It was really windy and very wet. This next place we kind of found by accident. It was a house built into a cave in the rock. Back in the 1800s, families used to live here and raised sheep. Then it was time for some off-roading. Note the sign says, impassable.
We had a chance to play in the snow, and it was very exciting for me.
Well, this was Thingvellir, the place where the European and North American tectonic plates separate. So don't spell check me on that title there. There's a couple of letters that are crushed together that look like a P and a B, but they sound like a TH.
Time for another hike. We went up a waterfall inside a slot canyon in the mountain.
It's not really a canyon. A canyon is basically like a valley.
Like a front canyon.
Yeah, with a little river running through it. It's something.
So this was our home for the next couple of nights in Arnastapi. And it came complete with this gorgeous little waterfall just a few steps off the back porch.
When I go on vacation, I don't go to be comfortable.
Yeah, you do. Potatoes, rosemary, garlic, olive oil. Because we haven't had enough potatoes yet on this trip. Richie thankfully bought a 25-pound bag of potatoes because things are really cheap here, so we're set.
Well, the dudes hiked along this cliff edge all the way out past those sea stacks to a lighthouse. What do you think?
It's a big boat.
You want to go out to sea, be an Icelandic fisherman?
I'll go.
We had pizza in this fishing village.
Just working on scoping out these two nav markers and doing a little video. And right behind me, this happened.
The West Coast views were pretty fabulous. Another waterfall, another hike.
Here in Iceland, we have many rivers. Most of them you cannot pronounce, but it's still cool.
Well, our last night was spent at the Maria Luxury Villa in Vesterland. Looks like we landed on our feet this time. That's our little sauna right there. Got our little hot tub over there.
Here in Iceland, we also have mountains.
Rush hour.
Have we mentioned yet how much our mom loved these sheep?
Well, we're in a record store here in Reykjavik. I guess people listen to music here in Iceland.
Thanks, Cade. So, after kicking around Reykjavik for the last day, we took our rental cars back to the airport and jumped on a plane and made the long flight home. How about a thumbs up for my voiceover crew? Nice work, dudes.